Hey, welcome back, and I just wanted to talk about religion in the Philippines. And in the last episode, the one I just uploaded, I may have sounded like I was laughing at some of the religious stuff in the Philippines. I wasn't. As most people know, that when I go on vacation, I do go to religious sites. I'm pretty religious myself. And basically, one of the reasons is, when I grew up, I basically went to a lot of revivals. And I remember going to the tent revivals and having everybody dance around. So this stuff's not really shocking to me, but it's different. I remember going, and they have confessionals where people talk about how they came to Jesus and they start crying. And I always looked around like, why are you guys crying? I mean, there's no reason. But anyways, my point is this, is when I grew up, my mother told me about 20 years ago that she was really poor when she had me and was going to put me up for adoption. Or not put me up for adoption, but a minister came and wanted to adopt me, and she wouldn't put me up for adoption. And it winds up that this minister was chased out of town for trying to manipulate people, and basically he wound up becoming known as a cult leader, way he controlled the flock. So so I almost got involved in a cult myself, unwillingly, and yeah, I could have been the cult leader by now, yeah, but no, I couldn't do that. But anyways, people were asking me about the Philippines, how religious the Philippines is, and it's very religious. The mainly is, it's Catholic, and the Catholic Church is very powerful in the Philippines. And in the south, in Mindanao, it's primarily Muslim. And the Mindoro Liberation Front was causing a civil war during the Marcos era. And Marcos was pretty much very corrupt and stealing from everybody. And some people want to know how I know so much about the Philippines. Yeah, I did live there, but I also wrote this book here, which is about all the corruption in the Philippines, basically in the Marcos administration and the U.S. government involved in Operation Golden Lily, which the Japanese supposedly buried gold in the Philippines. And I did show the pictures of me in the Philippines when I found the golden Buddha statue. And so I actually did look for it. And I talked about the Jade Cool murder, which if you want to watch the video before that. And I talked about several other high-profile scams that were going on in the Philippines. And like I said, that's the book I wrote there. And my pen name is Phoenix Powers. I got a 4-star rating on Amazon, but probably my writing skills, even though I was an English teacher, is probably not that great. But I also wrote this book here, Introduction to TESOL. Teaches you how to teach English. So that's 2 of the books I wrote. And yes, I'm very poor. and so anyway, so Marcos waged war, and the NPA tried to take over in the north because the people were so poor and they were living off $1, $2 a day. And a lot of people were taking advantage of them, especially the U.S. military was taking advantage of a lot of Filipinos by not paying them a livable wage. So they would hire 8 Filipinos to work and pay them so little that all 8 of them had to pool their money in order to eat. That's bad. They could have paid them $5 a day. Simple as that. I mean, not $5 a day, but $5 an hour each person, and they would have had a livable wage, and the Philippines economy would pretty much would have blossomed. But back to the religion. You have a lot of religious organizations that have come into the Philippines. You got the Baptist Church, the Protestant Church, you have the Mormon Church, Seventh-day Adventist Church come in there, Scientologists I think are in there. So there's a lot of different organizations, and the church that she belongs to is the Kingdom of Jesus, and they speak in tongues and everything. And I think this is a Presbyterian denomination, and I think, I'm not 100% positive, it's either Presbyterian or Episcopal. No, it has to be Presbyterian. because I believe they speak in tongues. But Jim Jones of the People's Temple was part of that type of church, and he manipulated a lot of people, and you know what happened to him. How that ended, and that is on my bucket list to go there and see that and wonder why or how that could have happened. And so the Philippines so religious that on Easter there are people that actually will crucify themselves, and there are people that will actually take chains and whip themselves until they bleed on their back while they're praying. And I might laugh at this, but it's a kind of a funny story, but it's not funny. Is they do believe in demonic possession in the Philippines. And so when somebody is totally out of control, or they can't figure out why they're having like a fit or something, they'll believe that they're being demonically possessed. And this happened one time when I was working in the Philippines, where some workers went into the break room, and I heard a bunch of screaming. I mean, it was just like a fight broke out, and like 20 people screaming all at the same time. And it wasn't one of those having a good old time hoopahs. It was screaming and people calling people names and yelling, swearing. So I ran in because I thought a fight broke out, and it wound up a girl was on the ground, and she was swearing at everybody, and 3-4 people were holding her down. And I told them to get off of her, leave her alone. And they said, no, she's possessed right now. And they were screaming at her, who are you? Get out of her body. And I'm like, okay, cut it out. So I asked her, what's wrong with you? And she just looked at me. I'm in a blank stare, just staring right at me, blank stare. I mean, I could go like that and she wouldn't even know I was doing it. And she's swearing at me and everything. And I'm like, wow. And it was really hot, and I could see the sweat coming on her face. So I told one of the employees to go get me some water. And while he was going to get water, one of the other employees went up and, I mean, smacked her as hard as he could on the face. I mean, I was shocked. I was like, and he's screaming like, get out of her body, get out of her body. And I'm like, don't do that. And he goes, who are you? Get out of her body. So the guy finally comes back with the water. He opens it up and he starts blessing her with the water. And I'm like, no, give me the water. I want her to drink it. And so I kind of put it up to her mouth, and she was drinking it, and she calmed down. And I'm just saying, that's how much they believe in religion. So the Philippines is a very religious country, and if you look at a lot of the jeepneys, a lot of the trikes, they will have religious sayings on it, or the jeepneys will have a Madonna and Child on it, inside it, or something religious aspect, rosaries or whatever. They're there. So Philippines is really religious. So thank you, everybody. Love y'all.